turn, boil and burn. 2 buckets of urine, dipping, sticking fools for chickens, scraping the curb, scrapping thunder domes, straight to the head, thunderbird. I'm on it, homie. Me and my homegirl down with it, nigga, damn near before it was rhyming. Damn, my closest homeboy, California living, switches a couple toys, retired a couple jerseys. Went from the sunny state to Jersey, puffin' Hershey, let off, get off, or get spit off, set off, went off the chest, off the roof. 178 proof of boost, gangsta dab, corrupt, let loose. This is it. Short chain, dip with us, sip with us, cocky eater, spit with us.
Oh yeah, do you wanna ride with us? Who ride with us? Oh yeah, do you wanna ride with us? Who ride with us? Oh yeah, do you wanna ride with us? Who ride with us? Oh yeah, do you wanna ride with us? Who ride with us?
I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that. I'm about to bust. Cool, where's your strap? G4 flow for show, bounce below, up and down, steel beats everywhere. I go, calico excursions, different diversions, homicidal insurgents, swerving. See my homie on the corner, chipping the curve, and any bus get close enough, we serve.
Homie, don't get nervous. Beware, that's corrupt, fool. Beware, ripping it up, fool. So you better beware. My crew, gray, you blued up, you chewed up. You and your old friend crew get bruised up. I'm the one you let hate, so give me mine and pay dues and dimes, living the life of crime. Switched up, hit 'em up, blast to get 'em up.
45 tack 9 blast to hit 'em up.
Hard
Oh
yeah.
yeah, do you wanna ride with us? Who ride with us? Oh yeah, do you wanna ride with us?
All right. Peace, everybody. Is a guy with the bow tie checking in with you live for another edition of Business with Benefits. I had to play a song about riding with us because Deb is a race car driver. People don't know that about her, but she is a race car driver. So to my right, you have the wonderful Deb Mathias. How you doing, Deb?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me on, Daryl. This is awesome.
No problem. Thanks for coming on here. And I say thank you to hashtag Team Live, hashtag Team Replay. However you consume the content, we appreciate it. Please let us know in the comments below. And Deb, I met you by way of Ronell Richards and Randy Cooper. They raved about you and your different events you're doing, so I know a bit about you. But for the people that don't live in North Carolina and don't know about you, let them know your work, what you do here, LinkedIn and offline.
Okay, thank you. I am a LinkedIn trainer. I train professionals to grow, market, and promote their business or find a career on LinkedIn. My company is Connect to Clients, and you can find me at connectclients.com, or the best way to reach me, because I'm always there, is reach out to me on LinkedIn and let's connect. Let's get to know each other.
Awesome. And I love the thing I like about you is you see a lot of college age kids that are like, I'm a LinkedIn trainer, and it's kind of like nothing against them, but it's just kind of like there's only so much knowledge of networking and building a business at that level. So I like that you know some things. You've been in business and you've actually seen the platform over a number of years. So for you, you do LinkedIn events locally, and obviously COVID has changed that, but kind of why did you start doing LinkedIn events locally?
Well, it's always been my passion to meet people online and then take it offline. And that's what I tell everybody. LinkedIn is a great tool, but everybody, even more so today, we crave that face-to-face interaction of getting to know people. And so when I became a LinkedIn trainer back in 2011, and I started meeting people in the same city that I was in that I didn't know, I thought, well, heck, they're 20, 30 minutes away. Let's get together. And it just kind of, when we moved from Columbus, Ohio here to Raleigh, North Carolina, which I'm from Apex, North Carolina, I wanted to do that same thing. I wanted to meet people here in the Triangle and get to know them, because my husband and I had just brought both of our businesses here to the Triangle. So it was important that I meet the people face to face. So that was actually what I started calling my networking events until 2016, when LinkedIn Local was born. And so, yeah, love meeting.
And they're powerful events. I mean, I could think for myself, 2018, that year I decided to start meeting people that I was connected with on LinkedIn, say, hey, we're in the same area, let's go have coffee or something. And I was intentional about every week. I wanted to have some kind of a one-on-one with somebody in my network just to make sure I knew them. And then we had a LinkedIn meetup event, 2018 end of the year. that like Ronell, that's the first time I met him was at that event. We've been connected for quite some time, but I never actually talked to him, and he's in the same state as me, same area. So do you find that happens a lot where people kind of think I don't know anybody and they have a network and they don't actually tap into it?
Absolutely. The main thing that I tell people about connecting with people, whether it's on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, you need to actually start a conversation. You can connect with people, but if that's as far as it goes, what's the point? You know, I could have many more people I'm connected to, but I'm judicious at who I connect with. And I'm also intentional about getting to know the people that I connect with. You know, let's have a Zoom meeting. Let's have a quick 15-minute phone call. And that's how I've always approached LinkedIn, is get to know my connections so that if I can't do business with you, maybe somebody I know can, and I can introduce you and become a referral source for that person.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you do that because you're a quality, not quantity person. I know it's good to have a following on LinkedIn, but it does take work to do that. But you're very much an advocate of kind of focusing versus having the shotgun approach. You're very much on focusing. So with somebody, let's say there's somebody new, they're getting into a new business. They've never really used LinkedIn until now. So they're starting from scratch. What's the biggest way you've seen them supercharge getting revenue out of their LinkedIn when they're brand new on the platform?
Let people know, tell your story. I'm new to LinkedIn. Just get on LinkedIn and tell your story. Be authentic. I've not used this platform before. I'm looking to connect with like-minded professionals. Please reach out to me and connect. And that's what I show people how to do, is to actually go to LinkedIn and look for people that you would like to connect with, that can be that referral source friend. You know, there are a lot of people that I don't do business. Ronell Richards, for one, he's a great friend. He and I, when we first met, it was so funny. It's like I met him through you. Well, not through you, but I met him through Randy Cooper. And it was all from a comment on LinkedIn. I commented, Ronell commented, I connected. The next thing I knew, Bobby Carbus, that's here in the Triangle, said, you got to meet Ronell Richards. He does a business in bourbon. And I was like, okay. So then Ronell reached out to me, and the next thing I know, Ronell's flying here to do a business in bourbon. And that's what it's all about. It's that interconnection of having that conversation with people.
Well, I want to break that down for people real quick, just because I don't want people to miss that. You met Randy through a comment.
Right.
Whose post was it? Do you remember, was it your post or his post or somebody else's?
It was his post.
Okay, so Randy put a post, you commented, he engaged you, and Ronell did too.
Right.
And then you guys connected, and then plane ticket.
Right. Well, and then a friend of mine here in the Triangle told me about Ronell. He had told Ronell because Bobby Carbus was connected to Ronell as well as I was. And he goes, you should come down. Deb can pull a crowd. You need to, you know, do one of your business and bourbons here in North Carolina. So Ronell reached out to me. He comes, and it's been kismet ever since. So.
See, that's what I think people don't recognize. Like, you know, Ronell and I didn't even know each other before, and then we met in person to kind of click well. But there's a friend of mine, Marcello Arcelé. He's here in Georgia, and yet we kind of met right when COVID was happening, but online. Right. I still have not seen him in person to this day. It's been like a year, but we're like friends because we text and call each other, and we have things happen. So let's talk about you use comments, and I highly encourage anybody watching this, if you can hear the sound of my voice and you're in the comments with this live, or anything that's posted, that's really, to me, one of the most powerful things people miss on LinkedIn is a comment. I mean, that's a person taking an extra level of engagement. They're not lurking. They're not just watching and saying nothing. They actually say, you know what? I'm going to join the conversation. That's powerful. So do you tell a lot of your clients to use that mechanism of the comments to kind of grow their business?
I do. There are 3 things that people can do if you're just new to LinkedIn. Get on LinkedIn. Choose your influencers, choose your people that you want to connect with. And once you do that, you're going to have a home feed that's going to give you information that you can reach out and comment on. When you make that comment, make it authentic. Don't just put, you know, Okay,
Good job.
that's great. Good job. Something like that. And hyperlinking somebody's name so that they know that you've mentioned them in a post is one of the most powerful things you can do. I also tell my clients, share. If you want to do business or you want to get a career from LinkedIn and you see a post that would be relevant to your network, share that. And then the person who did the actual post, hyperlink their name so that they know that you shared their post, because a lot can happen when you share someone's material on LinkedIn.
I agree. And speaking of sharing, I'm going to share the audience with this live real quick. We have a buddy of mine, Daniel Avalos, and his team occasionally watches. So he's not team live or replay, occasionally watches. Miss Sybil, she's team live. Thanks for jumping in, Sybil. And then good buddy of mine, King Marlon Addison, team live representing. And Sybil said she's here. And also we had North Carolina in the house with Kenneth Groom. He's representing for NC with you. Oh, and then I talked them up, Randy Cooper. He said, is that the Debra Mathias? Now, so let's break that down further. COVID's obviously changed your networking platform, because obviously you would do in-person stuff, and I'm in Georgia. If you came here, you wouldn't think there was a pandemic because there's still networking events. They're still doing them, but you're taking a more conservative approach, which I appreciate because that kind of helps us slow this whole thing down. But since we can't do the in-person, what is the stuff you're kind of doing to teach people to deepen their networks right now?
Well, our next LinkedIn Local Raleigh Triangle is going to be held May 11th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I encourage you to come to this event. We are going to have 4 LinkedIn experts that are going to be sharing what they do on LinkedIn to help people in today's pandemic and beyond, to either gain followers, connect with the people they want to connect with, or what's their strategy on LinkedIn that's made them successful. I'm going to be having Shelley Esslinger, Brenda Meller, Jeff Young, and Kevin Turner. And we are going to really do a deep dive into what makes you successful on LinkedIn so we can share it with others.
Perfect. And to break that down, so that's going to be an in-person event or a Zoom or a live?
Virtual. It's all virtual. The reason, and as I digress to the question that you asked, it's for me, I want to make sure everyone's safe. And to really be in person right now, I'm a hugger. I want to get up close. I want to hug you. I want to shake your hand. And until I feel safe doing that, we can do it online. We can talk, we can text, and we can Zoom. I know everybody's zoomed out, but I'm still having as many Zoom meetings as I am trainings these days because I'm keeping in touch with my network.
But let's dig into that. When you say people are zoomed out, I feel like there's a lot of passive Zooms, like you're just on like a webinar, a networking event where you don't talk to somebody. Like, I don't think people are zoomed out with the regard of business development. Like if I'm zoomed out, and you and I use LinkedIn a lot, so we could be zoomed out because we're meeting clients that way. But most people, it's like, oh, my team had a meeting, I got to watch that Zoom. There's an educational thing, I got to watch that Zoom. I don't think a lot of people are Zooming. And let us know in the comments. Let us know, guys, how many times you're doing actually business development Zooms, not your company told you to do it, but actually with a client, like you're reaching out to a client or a strategic partner. So when you take on people into your training, have you seen that? Like most of them aren't doing that, and most of them aren't saying, hey, let's have a Zoom with their LinkedIn connections? No,
they're not. And the reason being, I think, is because they go to these networking meetings, and that's what sets my LinkedIn Local apart from other networking events I've been to. At other networking events I've been through, you've got, a room full of people, and people go around and they tell what they do and, blah, blah, blah. And you may have a speaker. Well, mine, we have 10 partners that you get 2 20-minute breakout sessions, and you actually get to know, you get to meet the people and talk to them and have conversation for 20 minutes. So and we've kept it small. It's like 8 to 10 people in a room, so you can really get to know those people in the room.
Yeah. So would you say a lot of the old school, because that's the thing I think people mix up with social media. I'm a barely millennial, possibly Gen X. There's a lot of things with social media from the old school that people don't realize can help now. So are all your old school things helping influence your business right now?
Yes. It really is. The old and the new. It's like marrying the old with the new. I have been training worldwide since 2011. When the pandemic hit, it really went crazy with people, not just in the triangle, but all over the world. And reaching out to people and just having that one conversation, I think, is what really sets being on LinkedIn, or being LinkedIn, as Shelley Esslinger would say. You've got to actually use the platform instead of just sitting back and going, oh, like I see so many people that when I train them and I look at their activity, all they've done is like, it's almost like voyeurism. They go and they like stuff, but they don't ever
Right.
comment on, oh, I didn't know what to say, or I didn't think about reaching out to that person. It's like you're going,
That's what throws me off with, so because it's like people get focused on, I want to build my followers up on LinkedIn, but they have no content. And
but I don't want
you
to
don't,
interact with them.
right. It doesn't make any sense. Like I get there's the ease of the easy button we think about with social media. Like I post something and I'm supposed to get a sale. Now, personally, I've never made a sale off of a post. I'll say this again, I have a 25,000 connection. I've never made a sale off of a post. It's been, hey, let's talk. Hey, you seem like you understand what I do. Why don't we have a conversation? Or they ask me in the messages. They don't really go to a post and say, oh, I'm gonna book a meeting. That doesn't happen that frequently. So that's the old school, though. I mean, that's where I like that you have the old school and the new school. You understand it takes people. You
Right.
have to talk to somebody. And I'm sure you have a lot of young people that come in there trying to throw all these fancy terms that don't matter. But at the end of the day, what do you think is the ROI you see for people once they start kind of really getting the LinkedIn game? What's the ROI they usually get from working with you?
I get asked that question so much. And if you go to my recommendations, you'll see people saying that they enjoyed it, that they did this. That's one of my missions this year, is to try and capture ROI. I just had someone call me a couple of months ago that made an $8,000 sale because she used my system on LinkedIn. And I go, can you put that in writing? You know, if it's all, and I tell everybody I train this, I can show you how to use LinkedIn. I can show you how to use the software. I can show you how to reach out and not sound salesy. But it's incumbent upon you to use the format, because if you never use it, you're not going to get a sale. If you don't reach out and comment, if you don't reach out and interact with your network, you're never going to get a sale. And so I tell people right up front, because I have people ask me, well, I'm not going to get my money back for what I've paid you for my training. I go, if you do what's in those two workbooks, yes. If you don't, probably not. And
I love that you're straight to the point with that, because that's an issue, I think, with some programs that just advertise all the time. 500% ROI.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But the incumbent thing about it, nothing's an automatic turnkey system. It requires the human element of, you have to go talk to somebody. Because I focus heavily on my team I work with is, how many conversations have you had about your business today? That's all that matters to me. I don't care if you use smoke signals, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever. If you can talk to another human being about what you do, that is the biggest KPI for any business, I think. But you focus on that too. So for the people that are kind of looking for like a little hack, maybe they're trying to say, hey, I need a hack. You're not the hack person, but what's the go-to method you've seen be the most powerful for them besides comments to help them actually generate a meeting?
Go into their dashboard. People who have viewed your profile, people that have viewed your post, and people who have found you via search appearance are some of the warmest leads you're going to find on LinkedIn. So every day, I still get probably 10 to 15% of my business from my dashboard. And that's who's viewed my profile, who's viewed my post, and who found me via search appearance. So I reach out to those people that I know are there on my dashboard looking, and I reach out and connect. That's one of the strongest things that people can do is use their dashboard.
And
It's
this is the only platform that lets you have that. No other platform lets you see who looked at you. That's something
right,
important, I think, to recognize about LinkedIn. It's the only platform that you can tell, oh, you looked at my stuff, unless you actually liked it or something. But LinkedIn's
right.
the only one that gives you that looky-loo portion. And I was talking with somebody about this a couple of days ago about the salesy approach with that. They're saying, hey, so I looked at my profile, want to meet? That's not my style. But I've seen that they said, I tried that, and I'm like, did it work? No, it never works. Like, because it's too strong. It's kind of like you walk
Right.
by somebody at the mall, hey, you gonna get married? Like, it's just too
Right.
intense.
That's one of the things that I do in my workshops is I actually give people canned things that they can say,
Mhm.
but they have to make it theirs. In other words,
Right.
here are some of the tools that I use. In other words, I got a connect request the other day. I kid you not. Hi, my name is so and so. I can help your business because I am the best at insurance. And he went on for like, blah. This was in the intro. This was a connect
The
request.
connection request. Yeah.
And I went, okay. So I replied to him because I've got the premium version. I replied to him and I go, how well is this working for you?
I do the same. Look, I knew we would get along because I do that same thing, asking people, like, does this actually work?
Or is this working for you?
Right.
I got an automated response back, which was hilarious. And I go, guess not. And I immediately hit ignore. It's like, authentic is the way to go. Be real with people.
Yeah, I felt weird for being the person that does that because often I'm a sales guy, so I try to coach a little bit when somebody hits me the wrong way. Like, I'll connect with you, but don't pitch me as soon as we connect.
Right.
Oh, I apologize. They say to do that. No, nobody says to do that. That's just
Nobody
you thinking
says
you're
to
supposed
do
to do that. And that's what somebody even asked the question here in the comments. Their name's not showing up, but it says, "Does the paid version of LinkedIn really help with building?" So
Yes.
there's probably two sides to that answer. Go ahead.
Yes. Bottom line, yes. Let me tell you my story. When I first got on LinkedIn back in 2009, it was out of necessity. I was working for a courier company in Columbus, Ohio. And as we know, in 2008, the stock market crashed. So I come back to my office one day, beat up, battered in January of 2009, sat down at my desk and I saw this thing called LinkedIn and I went, what can it hurt? So I got on and I set up a profile. I literally took my prospect list and my top 100 client list and started connecting with people. Now, what's interesting is back in the day, not that many people were on LinkedIn. So I would take their email address and I would send the same message that I sent on LinkedIn. Like, I sent you a connect request on LinkedIn. Will you connect with me? And that worked well. So I started really using LinkedIn to connect with my clients and my prospects. And what I found after closing deal after deal after deal, one day it finally struck me to ask the question, why would you connect with me on LinkedIn and meet with me when this guy's office looked like the courier company I worked for? He had pens, cups, pads, pencils, and he goes, credibility. He goes, I read your LinkedIn profile. I knew that you were credible. My wife is a breast cancer survivor as well, and I felt we had a connection.
To that story, that's the powerful thing. Your profile has story behind it versus just a name. I know for me, I was cold calling the first couple of years of my agency, was just all cold calling. And then I kind of came to a point, I've been on LinkedIn since 2010, so I'm a little bit after you, but I kind of said, this thing's going to work for me to not have to chase business eventually. And to kind of go back to the paid versus free version, the paid version allows you to kind of see longer. If you're very on it, like, I want to be transparent for people. If you're on a budget, you say, I can't afford it right now. If you're going to be checking your profile, like, and you're getting a lot of hits, if you're going to check it like every 3 hours, you could probably get away with the free one, keeping track of who viewed your profile. But if you don't do it that fast, you're going to lose people
Yeah,
that just
but if
check you
you're
out.
not reaching, if you need the capability to reach out, and on the free version, you don't get who viewed your profile, and that is the number one feature on the site is who's viewed your profile. People
Mm-hmm.
want to know who viewed their profile. And that's the main reason I bought the premium version, because I wanted to see who was looking at me. I figured if they were looking at me, they were interested in something that I had said somewhere along the way, and maybe I could connect. So I do encourage, and I make this disclaimer every time the words come out of my mouth. I am not an employee of LinkedIn, nor do I
Right.
get paid for telling people to get the premium version. But there are so many features. You get 15 in-mails that you can use in-mail. You get who's viewed your profile depending on which plan you go with. There's
Yep.
more capability for outreach. So anybody who's in business development needs to have the premium. I paid for my premium version of LinkedIn the first month I was on LinkedIn.
So you got the vision early, and then there's different levels of it too. You hear Navigator and Business and all these different versions. Deb's just saying the baseline of just the premium version. There's even student discounts if you're in school.
Right.
There's other ways to get it cheaper depending on a financial situation. So just look into it at least.
Right.
We had Lee jumped in here. Mr. Copyright King said, "Hello, amazing people." And then Kathleen said, "Superstar Debra." Oh, and you got a thank you from this was Franzetta Bradley.
Kathleen.
Franzetta, you got to turn your privacy off so you can actually have people see your face on the live. Okay, so something else I want to dig into when it comes to LinkedIn. We kind of mentioned the leads. People hear a lead on LinkedIn. Now, there's different definitions of lead. So you came from pre-LinkedIn. So obviously you have a better understanding, I think, of the word lead. So what is a lead to you when it comes to using LinkedIn for your business?
A lead for me on LinkedIn is anyone that I feel I can do business with, or I feel someone in my network can do business with.
Okay, so let me dig deeper. Do you think like a like is a lead, or a comment is a lead, or something like that when you're on LinkedIn?
No, a lead to me is when I actually have conversation with that person and know if that person, is going to be a lead or not. To me,
Okay.
all of LinkedIn is a lead, because everything, this is another thing that I share with my clients. Everything you do on LinkedIn could bring somebody to you that could be a lead for your company.
That's true. And I like that you broke it down as the interaction happens, because I think sometimes we'll hear social media marketing companies say, we'll get you a bunch of leads, but they're looking at like a like is a lead.
Right.
They're like, well, I liked it. Well, there's some, there's some sense to that, maybe, but it's no conversation. Right. It's very autonomous. There's no actually conversation with it. So you're saying once I talk to you, I have some kind of interaction, whether that's you viewed my profile, you search for me, you went to my inbox, that's when it becomes a lead for you. Before, it's just marketing at that point, it sounds like.
Right.
Okay, so I just want to make sure people get some actionable things from this, because LinkedIn is going through a little bit of growth right now. A lot more people are getting into it, obviously, because of COVID. A lot of people need jobs. A lot of people are trying to change their business. And this is a great platform for that. So before we started, you and I joked about only being on LinkedIn because this is, the only place we get business from, really. So for the people that are spreading themselves over a bunch of networks, are a lot of your clients people that have, I'm on every social and nothing's working, or are most of them just new to social media in general?
In today's pandemic world, it's about 80-20. Most of the clients that I have are trying to do and be everything to everybody, whether it's they're trying to find a career and they're posting on Facebook, or they're posting on Twitter, or they're doing Instagram, LinkedIn. So many people are just using the spray and hope method, and you can't do that. You have to really get focused, especially, I just spoke to a group of career transition professionals. These people need a career. Don't just, well, I hope this works, and maybe if I do this, this works. Go with something you know. LinkedIn is the number one place to find a career. It's 77% of all HR directors are on LinkedIn. So go and focus on finding that career or building that business with one, maybe two. I use LinkedIn and Twitter because I've got my Twitter tied to my LinkedIn.
Hmm.
And that's what I've used to grow my business, and I show my clients. So don't just scatter, have a thought process behind what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's good you said that, especially the 77%. And I think we all kind of get romanticized by the celebrity version of social media, because a celebrity will say, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, they'll list all these different places, but we, the regular people, don't realize we don't have a team like they do.
Right.
Like, The Rock is not managing all of his social media. He probably does some of it, but he's not actually going through every Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Like, he's not doing that. It's pretty much
Nope.
somebody else does that. And I think we forget that as business owners, that it's like, oh, get on all of them, because it'll show a spot for enter your Facebook, enter your Twitter, it leaves you a spot to put it, but that doesn't mean you have to have it. And I learned that the hard way, just getting rid of stuff, because I was like, this stuff is just spinning my wheels. Like, I don't use Instagram, I don't use Facebook. It never generated anything for me. So obviously we're on LinkedIn and YouTube right now, but there's also something important when you mentioned 77% of HR coordinators are on LinkedIn. Do you think a lot of job seekers actually know that?
I don't. I really don't. And that's one of the reasons I brought it up. The statistics that I used for my career transition people this morning, I think some of them were blown away. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I don't have my numbers right in front of me, but I think it's something like, 34% of millionaires are on LinkedIn. We've got 76% of hiring directors are on LinkedIn. So, you really have to just go and look at, what you're doing. Get a plan.
Deb just said that there's rich people on LinkedIn. There's rich people on LinkedIn and broke people on Instagram. Yeah. Marlon's, hope is not a plan. He's a sales guy too. You can't spray and pray. That doesn't work anymore.
Right. Nope.
And he also had a comment, awesome breakdown of how and why to connect, be intentional. I link Twitter to my LinkedIn profile as well. And being intentional, I have real relationship with key connections. Yeah, like Marlon and I are friends at this point. That's the thing that's important that people don't realize. And Marlon and I, we've never met in person yet. It's only been through comments and then kind of making it go to DMs and then doing live stuff together. So all these platforms, the idea is to be social. That's what I think you have an advantage over the younger generation, because they grew up with the phone only there. And they're like, you got to meet people in person? I'm supposed to go shake their hand? Right. No, I'm just going to tweet them and just message them all day. But you actually encourage it all the time. Take it off the platform.
Yes, absolutely. Once you've connected, let's have a phone call. Let's have a Zoom meeting. I want to get to know you. I don't need to do everything through social media. And it's funny you brought that up, because I trained a millennial not long ago. And, he thought he knew LinkedIn. I know how to do all social media. I'm on social media. I do Twitter. I do Instagram. I do Facebook. I do LinkedIn. And I was like, okay, so how many sales have you made from any of those?
Boom.
Well, none. I go, well, why not? You know how to use all the platforms. Why aren't you, well, I put good content out there, and so we went through some of his content, and I went, really? Okay. Let's take a look at that first.
Right. No, I'm glad you said that, though, because people think that all the time, that I know how to, put hashtags, and I know how to put a video. Like,
I know how to use the platform.
Right. Okay. None of that stuff is important. It's like, did you sell anything? Please. Yeah. If you did not talk about your business, I'm listening. If you did not talk about your business on this platform, you're unemployed. Like, you're supposed to get someone to talk to you about what you do. And that's one thing I want to break down. People, I'm in the financial services area. The excuse I get from people all the time is I can't use LinkedIn because I can't talk about my work. Now, they're referring to the regulations. I can't go out here and say, this is going to give you this return. This policy is going to do this for you. I can't do that, but I don't focus on that. So if you get a lot of financial professionals or people in highly regulated industries that tell you, hey, Deb, this is all well and good, but I can't do it.
Over the last few months, I have trained more financial people than I've trained any other industry. And the reason is because I show them what they know, what they can put on, because the financial industry is very heavily regulated, as well as banking. And so there are things, obviously, you can't put on your LinkedIn profile, but you can tell your story, and you can push information, give notes to people, that give them tips on your industry that will make them follow you, make them like you. Because trust me, I'm not going to have anybody handle my money that I don't know, like, and trust. And the best way to get them to know, like, and trust you is educate your prospective client on what you do, your industry. Because regulations are changing all the time. Things change all the time in the financial industry.
Yep. And at the end of the day, nobody is, they're not looking on LinkedIn for product spec sheets or for, flyers about the product that you have. That's the last thing. They got to kind of lean in first. So if anybody looks at my feed, you'll see very little about insurance. I
Right.
post probably every 10, 15 times. I'll put something specific to it, but I'm with the mindset, like, if you want to know, you'll ask me. Or if you like me enough to click my page, you'll say, okay, let me go ask some information. And then that's where I think a lot of financial people don't understand. They think when they see a fashion designer, they're posting clothing. Well, you got to like that to lean in. It's kind of different than anything with intellectual capital. So mostly financial professionals you're working with, anybody else you've seen that's been needing a lot more training than other industries. That way, if people are watching this, they can tag them. Any industries you think also are benefiting a lot from what you're doing?
Actually, a lot of B2C business.
Ah, okay, that's interesting.
Hospitality, people whose in restaurants, people whose industries were hard hit by the pandemic.
So wait, let's back up real quick. B2C, that's not a common, that doesn't live on LinkedIn often. So how are B2C people kind of benefiting from using this more B2B platform?
By getting to know people the same way you do. That's what I tell people. Boom. It's all about getting to know people. It has nothing to do. I have my hairdresser on LinkedIn. I have the lady, my nail salon on LinkedIn. I've got every person I do business with, B2C, on LinkedIn, because I've told them, you don't have to post that often, but at least let people know you're there, and reach out to people and get to know them.
Mm-hmm. And you could get a sponsorship maybe for something. You might say, hey, I need a vendor to sponsor something, or I need a vendor. I know I was looking for someone to partner with in Illinois. So I go on LinkedIn, let me find an insurance person in Illinois. It's a good search database. I've known HR people that say, I don't use Google. I search on LinkedIn for when I'm looking for a certain kind of professional. So they'll put in there a female in the Southeast that has been doing it for 20 years. Like, you can break it down that specifically.
Right.
So I think you're right. That's making the connection. Remember, social media is to be social, folks. That's what the point is, to be social. It's not just to post stuff. And Lee put on here right here, if your LinkedIn summary is complete, accurate, and aligned, it's a lot easier for the right people to discover you. That's a key thing. I'm sure you spent a lot of time on fixing our LinkedIn profile. And then Kathleen said you dropped the mic earlier with the did you sell anything portion. And then Marlon said Debra had to school him or her.
Pretty much.
But so what's I'm going to kind of wrap up here. What's the one metric? I know you mentioned looking at your profile, but what's like a daily routine that you say is the most powerful? Like, if they had one thing they did daily with their LinkedIn that kind of helped them get the results they want, what's that one thing they would do daily to get the best return?
If they don't have a already established network, reach out and start connecting with people. There are so many people that have recently got on LinkedIn that maybe have 100 connections, 200 connections. The more connections you have and the more network you have, the better you'll be able to reach out to people, to start relationships, to do business with them, or, help out. And the best thing you can do on LinkedIn, pay it forward.
Mm-hmm.
Mention, if you look at my profile, I had a lady write a post about me a few weeks ago. When you look at my profile, you're going to see me promoting other people. You're going to see me mentioning other people. When you pay it forward on LinkedIn and you help somebody by boosting their post or commenting on their post and actually interacting on the format, that's where the money is. When you've got somebody else in mind instead of yourself, that's where the true money is paying it forward.
The go-giver. I love go-givers.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Deb, this has been awesome. I'll be respectful of your time. And folks, if you are not connected with Deb, go ahead and click her face. Is probably going to show up over there somewhere. Go ahead and click her face. Yeah, somewhere down there. I'm not a YouTuber that well to know where to point and everything. But connect with Deb. She's a wonderful person, and she's doing great things with the LinkedIn Local to meet people in person once that kind of gets back to normal. But actually call somebody. If I could leave a call to action from this, if you're connected with somebody that either aligns with your business or just you can partner with them or collaborate, message them and say, hey, let's do a Zoom. It doesn't hurt to do a 15-minute Zoom just to kind of learn about somebody and see, because right now you're not driving as much. Most of us are not driving as much. So that hour you spent in traffic going to and from the office in the morning and in the evening, that might be gone for a lot of you. Use that time to say, you know what, now I can go Zoom with somebody that I've been meaning to talk to, or I can call this person I've been thinking about and find out. You never know where it's going to go. And be social. That is the point of this. It was Jazz come to share saying hello, he's being social. Thank you for being social, Mr. Chambers. But Deb, any parting wisdom you're going to leave for people or how they can get a hold of you?
Please reach out to connect with me on LinkedIn. That is the best way you'll get me. I'm there all the time. I will connect with you, and I'll open you up to my network so that if there's someone in my network that you need to or want to get to know, I'll introduce you. So connect with me on LinkedIn.
Perfect. I love it. Well, folks, please be safe while you're out there. The pandemic is still going on. Be safe, physically distance, wash your hands, all that good stuff, and just connect with somebody and actually be intentional about your usage of this platform. We will catch you next time on Business Benefits. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.